Hello, welcome once again to the Alumni Special. I'm Dilly MacFarlane, the host of today's program, and over the coming weeks I'll be bringing you interviews with a number of our interesting alumni in the area. Today we're going to be speaking with one of our very recent graduates who is working most recently in the field of the performing arts and is now a public relations graduate and is working professionally in that field. I'd like to welcome Barrie Dunn.
Hi, Dilly.
Hi, Barrie. It's nice to see you here.
Nice to be here, thanks.
And congratulations on your recent graduation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I understand that you've graduated with distinction.
Yes, I did, yeah.
And with highest aggregate.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was a little bit of hard work and in a short period of time, but I'm glad I did. I have one disadvantage that a lot of graduates don't have, is that I think I'm what they call a mature student.
Yes.
Meaning you're over 30. Just over 30. So I don't know, changing a career as I did from a professional actor into a public relations practitioner, I think that I had to work a little bit harder at it. And that was my goal 2 years ago, was to work and try to get good marks.
So you started here in '83?
I did, in '83, yeah, in September of '83.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you are gainfully employed?
Gainfully employed, yeah. Very rewarding work so far. I'm working at Corporate Communications in Halifax. They're one of the leading public relations and advertising agencies in Atlantic Canada.
That's right, and I know of that company because a number of our public relations graduates are working there. Who are some of your co-workers?
Well, we have Old Home Week every week there because, well, there's Karen Stone recently joined CCL just after I did. Margaret McKee is my next door neighbor. We have desks next to each other. She graduated in '84. Chris Williams is a BPR graduate. Michelle Gallant, who is now a management supervisor at CCL, has been there for 4 years, a graduate of the Mount. And let me think, I'm probably forgetting someone. I hope I never do.
Well, that's a fairly, I'm not surprised with those, with all those Mount people that they are leading in their field.
Yeah, they really are.
We have a wonderful program here in public relations. I wanted to ask you, though, particularly, Barrie, about your how a professional actor became interested in public relations. Do you think one necessarily leads into the other, that there's a bit of an actor in all public relations people? Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible. It's hard to say if in my case it led directly into a career in public relations. It did indirectly, because what happened in 1982, the year before I came to the Mount, is my wife and I founded a theater company in Halifax. We recognized there was a need for an alternate theater company. And in getting that together and in dealing with all the administrative work that was involved in maintaining a theater company, I realized that I didn't have the kind of training needed to do that. Being a non-profit organization, theater companies need certain skills, and I think those are the skills that public relations provides. And I thought at that point that it would be a good idea for me to come back to school after all those years and get a degree in public relations.
Well, we're glad you did, because I know that while you were here as a student, Barrie, you were very actively involved in several of our own projects, drama projects here on campus. Why don't you tell us a bit about those?
Well, the first year I was here, we did Top Girls, all-woman show, and I had the pleasure of directing Dilly in this, and you were wonderful too. That was a lot of fun, but that was a very...
it was a good play.
It was a great play, yeah, it really was.
That was by Carol Churchill.
Carol Churchill, yeah.
And since then, there has been another Carol Churchill production on campus, has there not? The Touched, is that not?
No, that wasn't Carol Churchill, no. We seriously considered doing another Carol Churchill play.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking
Yeah,
about.
we talked about doing one. No, we did Touched last year, and that was by a British playwright called Stephen Lowe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but Carol Churchill is certainly a good playwright, could be done here anytime.
That was your most recent production, in The Touched. I did see that. That was very moving, very touching, appropriately named,
it was.
and very ambitious, too.
Yeah.
I wonder, I know how much work and how much energy you put into productions like that, Barrie, and how did that affect your schooling when you were getting top marks, graduating at the top of your class, and still having time to commit yourself to projects like this? This is one of the reasons why Barrie was awarded the President's Prize at Convocation here recently, because of this kind of dedication.
Well, one of the interesting things about going back to university is one of the things that you do learn, either by necessity or whatever, is to manage your time. And that was interesting in being involved in the plays. I really had to manage my time as efficiently as I could. And once I got my time schedule sorted out, it really wasn't difficult, because it wasn't just my efforts involved. I mean, with Touch, there were 10 other actors, 10 students involved in the production. They had to manage their time, and it was sort of a real combined effort. But I remember talking to one girl that I directed in Top Girls, and I asked her, just by the way, how her marks were, because I'm concerned about students' marks when they're involved in production. And she told me that her marks were better in the term when she did the play than they were in the previous term, because she said that she learned to manage her time better.
Great.
I mean, it can be done. I think, you know, there's a lot of time in a day.
Sure is. I know that you've had quite an extensive career as a professional actor, some 8 years now, I think, since you actually started doing it for money, as they say.
Doing it for money, that's right.
You did some amateur work when you were here in Halifax at St. Mary's.
That's right.
Many years ago. Yeah. Not that many, but a few years ago, before you saw the light and came to the Mount.
That's right.
But I understand that you hit the yellow brick road to Toronto and to Los Angeles, in fact.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And what brought you back east?
Well, it's my home. I'm born, brought up in Nova Scotia, and
Where's your hometown?
I'm from Pictou, Nova Scotia, 100 miles from here. It's a beautiful little town. I go back as often as I can. Yeah, as you say, I found my senses and came to the Mount after leaving St. Mary's. When I left St. Mary's, I went to theater school in Britain. I was there, and that's where I got my theater training. And when I left theater school, it was every actor, Canadian actor anyway, talked about going to Toronto. That was the Mecca. That was where you had to go. And I did. I was with everyone else. I went up and just didn't find it to my liking. But over the course of my 10 years as a professional actor, I probably lived there a total of about 3 years. I decided to come back to Halifax because I liked the work that was being done in Halifax. John Neville was theater director here. John was a very difficult act to follow. I don't think he's been followed, and I don't think he will be followed for a little while. It's hard to say. But he was doing some very exciting work, and he really built this theater up. It was nice to work with him, and he was giving me work, and I had no reason to leave. I couldn't have been happier.
What did you do in Los Angeles professionally?
Well, professionally, it was interesting. I had an agent down there because, thanks to Tony Randall, because I was doing Les Canadiens at Neptune at the time. The show right after Les Canadiens was a play called The Seagull. That was Tony Randall's first appearance in Halifax.
I remember that.
Yeah. Tony liked the work I did in Les Canadiens and invited me to Los Angeles to meet his agent. I did go down, and I was signed to a three-year contract with Mr. Randall's agent. So when I was down there, at least I had this agent there to open doors for me. And I got to do quite a few auditions. And one of the auditions I'll always remember, I auditioned for the NBC casting department en masse. I think there were 5 of them. And they gave me their usual preamble saying, we're just here to meet you. There's nothing we can offer you right at the time, but we just wanted to meet you. So I did my audition piece, and I did something from Harold Pinter's play, The Homecoming, and I heard one lady casting director quip, oh no, culture, or something like this, and I thought, oh no. You know, what a bad start. But anyway, I did my bit, and what was his name? Joel Thurm, who was head of casting at that time. He said, yeah, we do have something here for you. There's something we're casting right now, and it was a show called The Gangster Chronicles. Now I know this is not going to this isn't going to ring a lot of bells with a lot of people, because as it turned out, I was cast in the show, but being a Canadian, it was a very difficult procedure to get a work permit. They wanted to go into production in October. I think this was in May that I auditioned. I was told that I wouldn't get a work permit for 1.5 years. So there was no way I could have done it, which is in some ways it's too bad, in some ways it doesn't. The show only lasted, it was scheduled to do 13 weeks. I think it lasted 2 weeks. It wasn't one of your real big winners. But interestingly enough, Hill Street Blues was a show that they were putting in production at the same time. It's too bad that one wasn't, because that's a great show.
Well, we're delighted that you did manage to make it back to,
I am too.
to Halifax. But I know that we were talking a little earlier about professional actors and other means of keeping the wolf from the door that they find themselves embroiled in from time to time. I understand that you had a very distinguished career as a waiter.
Yeah, you heard about that, did you? Yeah. I was a waiter for a day. Waiter for a day in Toronto. Yeah. I mean, actors. We're taxi drivers and waiters, and we do office work, and we do all this kind of thing. So I thought I would do some waiting, because I had a lot of experience. Dilly, have I ever told you I'm a very experienced waiter?
No, you didn't tell me that.
There was a job offering in Toronto at this new restaurant that had been opening up, so I had filled in my application and so on, and as is the want of an actor sometimes, I was
embroidering as you go along.
Embroidering, yeah.
Yes.
I put in a few things that I had done that I really hadn't done. So the point of it was I didn't have very much experience as a waiter. Anyway, I did get the job, probably based on my resume. I mean, it did look good. It looked good. Yeah, so anyway, I got the job. I didn't have any experience. And
you lasted one day.
yeah, one lunch. I worked lunch, 3 hours. That was it. And the fellow said to me at the end of the day, he said, well, if we have something for you, we'll let you know. Yeah, don't call us, we'll call you.
So what did you do with the $15 bow tie?
Yeah, $15 bow tie, that's right. Yeah, I had to buy the bow tie because it was, you know, black pants, white shirt, and bow tie. So I went out and bought the bow tie for $15. I think I made, counting my wages and tips for the day, the 3 hours, I think I made $14.50. I was out 50 cents, so that was it. I've never done that again.
Well, it cost you 50 cents to raise waiters in your esteem considerably after the one day,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Barrie, what's in the cards for you right now? I know that your work as a public relations professional will keep you very, very busy, but I'm wondering if there's anything coming up for you in the field of drama. Do you have any projects on the back burner? What about your theater company? Is this something that you and your wife Caitlin are still going to pursue?
It's very difficult to say. I did make a career change from acting into public relations, and I have made a commitment to corporate communications, and that is a commitment that I plan on fulfilling, unless the circumstances change in some ways. I mean, who knows what can happen? But for the time being, my commitment is with corporate communications. Actors Triworks, the company that we founded, will never die in my heart and in Caitlin's heart. What I would like to see is a revival of Actors Triworks. I think the interest is there in the community, and my involvement with the theater company would probably be in a supportive, non-paying position.
Right.
Yeah.
And this Actors Triworks is, in fact, would be a semi-professional theater company, or professional.
That's such a difficult term to define. When we did our first shows, we've done 4 shows together now, and all the shows that we did, we called them professional because we employed professional actors, all equity actors. Now, it's true, we did not pay equity salaries. But we did work within the jurisdiction of Canadian Actors Equity Association. All the people we used are professional or people who had made a very serious and determined commitment to becoming professionals.
See, Barrie, tell me something. What was the favorite role that you've ever played?
I think I'd have to say the role would be Jean Beliveau in Les Canadiens.
It was a good production.
I love that show.
I saw you in that production.
Did you?
It was a fine part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to say why. It was my first, wasn't my first professional role. I had one line in Othello just prior to that. But it was really what I considered my first real role in professional theater. And I used to think Jean Beliveau was the greatest hockey player that ever lived. When I was growing up, I remember writing him a letter when I was 10 years old, and I still have that. My dad has it anyway. And that was a very fulfilling play.
And I know that actors and directors have had interesting relationships over the years. Who was in your mind, who was the best director that you ever worked with?
That's a good question, Dilly. You know, I was thinking about that. And when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about stage directors, and I almost neglected to mention the people who I've done film work with and television work with. And I think from stage, I'd have to say that a fellow by the name of Ken Gass in Toronto, who founded Factory Theatre Lab, who's now a producer at CBC in Toronto, he was very inspirational to me as a stage director. Denise Coffey at Neptune was very good. But I have to say that Jim Swan, who's a television director at CBC, who directed me in 2 CBC television productions.
You've been very fortunate to work with those people,
yeah,
haven't
I
you?
really have been. He was wonderful to work with.
Just before I thank you for joining us, Barrie, I want to invite our audience to write to me here at Mount St. Vincent with some feedback on how you are enjoying this series, the Alumni Special. Thank you very much, Barrie,
Dilly,
for joining me today.
thank you very much for having me today.
And I hope that you'll tune in next week again for the Alumni Special.